We'll talk today about countering terrorism, especially in KPK. Pakistan has been fighting terrorism for over 20 years, intensively since 2007, accruing deep operational experience, though at a high cost. That history makes it neither useful nor respectful to lecture commanders who have spent careers on this fight. At the same time, the persistence of violence shows that terrorism has become a resistant disease. It thrives in particular environments, morphs into durable behavior for certain actors like TTP, and adapts far faster than conventional forces constrained by rigid SOPs and unimaginative responses. TTP has settled comfortably in Afghanistan, where it functions as a profitable enterprise. Faced with this reality, Pakistan must adopt a new paradigm, one that prevents through deterrence, but crucially, makes terrorism costly and purposeless. The military's task here is to condition groups such as the TTP before any political settlement, to bring them to the table weakened and discredited, because all types of violence eventually seek a political outcome. Treat terrorism as an adaptive disease and design the response accordingly. Integrated deterrence must be the organizing principle, a fusion of hard and soft powers, tactical agility, and strategic patience. We're not talking about a one-off campaign, but a continuous posture that adapts, endures, and communicates strength at every level. Threat elimination is not the terminal objective. The true end state is when the perceived cost of terrorism consistently outweighs any conceivable benefit. The suggested integrated deterrence has two layers. The inner core of this model is intelligence, information, and influence architecture. Collect and consolidate the last 2 decades of sector-wise data and use artificial intelligence predictive tools to develop human terrain and anticipate operational behavior of militants. Feed models continuously with fresh, human-verified inputs so predictions remain current. At the brigade level, build fusion hubs that connect to headquarters in Peshawar and Rawalpindi or Islamabad, ensuring synergy of common operating picture. Staff these hubs with personnel which have served in the relevant areas. Retired cadres with local knowledge can be particularly valuable. These centers will turn accumulated experience into anticipatory advantage. Parallel to data fusion, mount a deliberate insider campaign modeled on successful law enforcement infiltration of organized criminal networks. The objective is singular: create mistrust inside militant ranks so the network begins to devour itself. Infiltrate, sow calibrated misinformation, and amplify fractures through controlled disclosures that induce suspicion and paranoia. This campaign should be surgical and intelligence grounded. The aim is to make loyalty risky, membership unattractive, and operational planning compromised. As internal cohesion frays, cognitive dissonance will rise. Members will question whether violent effort is rational or worth the cost. Surrounding this inner core is the information domain, a two-way interactive space where physical actions and narratives meet. Pakistan must seize information advantage both domestically and across the border. Information operations should drive kinetic actions. Military success must translate into narrative dominance. Effective operations should be turned into clear, truthful messages that undercut militant propaganda and make the cost of participation visible to potential recruits and local communities. Then is the outer layer, mainly comprising kinetics, a two-tier military posture that combines immutable defense with calibrated yet effective offense. The defensive layer must make attacks high risk and likely to fail. As a first step, let's bring down the losses to naught, not because of inaction, but with smart defensive measures including obstacle systems for vulnerable posts. This is very critical, will frustrate TTP and force their hand to carry out operations which could cost them highly. Every loss of individual will cost the group both financially and human resource-wise. Simultaneously, offensive action must be intelligence-led and precise, chasing leadership, logistics, and sanctuaries in depth, including informal networks of expert agents that can operate in hostile safe havens. The Army may seriously think about raising distinct offensive forces other than Special Services Group. Predictive analytics should guide both defense and offense so operations are anticipatory, not merely reactive. Between these two layers of integrated deterrence lies the interactive operational space, where information, deception, and limited kinetic actions interplay. It is said that the most effective communication is often fighting itself. Whoever wins in the field tends to dominate the information domain. Therefore, synchronize operations with information campaigns so battlefield effects reinforce strategic deterrence. Finally, to govern or execute this model, employ calibrated policy ambiguity. Decision-making should combine lawful, rational measures with bounded unpredictability. A degree of uncertainty in the timing and magnitude of response will create an illusion of control that would increase the perceived risk for militants and lowers the psychological utility of violence. This is not license for lawlessness. Rather, it is strategic ambiguity used to force adversaries into costly hesitation. If applied consistently, this integrated deterrence, data-driven, infiltrative, communicative, and militarily disciplined, will condition militants to negotiate from weakened positions, encourage defections, and ultimately make terrorism an unsustainable behavior. That is how a long, costly fight becomes a managed political problem rather than an endless way of life. Can Pakistan's integrated deterrence truly make terrorism a futile choice? Share your thoughts. Until next time, Allah Hafiz.